Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press, a college basketball experience. Sammy D and LT back in the saddle, talking and a little bit more basketball. I can't believe the season's almost getting closer to being over. We're in the thick of things of conference basketball. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review if you're watching our beautiful faces on in this beautiful face in the middle with the angelic sunrise behind him. It's like God is with us right now. Don't tell my mom I didn't go to church yesterday. We had sports, which is, don't even get me started. But don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. 5-star reviews are appreciated, or I'm going to drink a lot of milk and send Sam to your house. So we're really excited. This is one of the, actually, I think they're the second hottest team in the country. Okay. And I say that in no disrespect. They've got a 12-game winning streak. Akron, the Zips, where I live, is 13. And we're really excited to have him. You know, we asked his predecessor, Coach Spiker from Drexel, to be on. He declined because we didn't ask him. So why not ask Towson's great coach, Pat Skerry, back to the Full Court Press. Welcome back, Coach.
Hey, it's great to be here, fellas. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, and all I hear is Sam saying, like, shut the hell up, and Coach is like, why am I back here? So
I know. I want to talk some basketball, LT. I mean, Towson Tigers, man, 12-game win streak, like you said. 18-9 overall, 10-1 at home. You know, I'll be hesitant to say cruising through the Colonial Athletic Conference.
Don't say that. Don't ever say that. He's getting pissed.
You're winning, Coach.
Yeah. It's been like an off. We're in one of those. We're in 4-wheel drive going through an off-road monster truck demolition derby. So it's definitely not been a cruise.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that monster truck. I mean, what are the pieces that have just clicked the last couple months?
Well, you know, we're deep and we're experienced and we're healthy. So we've been able to get better and get in a rhythm. And, you know, I think the guys it's a really connected group. Obviously, like Tejada and Williamson are elite scorers and talented guys, and you've had a lot of other guys like, you know, May has taken less shots and I think been as good a defensive player as there is in the league, and Tark's playing at an all-league level and he's coming off the bench, as is Lowry, who is really a starter, and Suleiman, and even guys like Hicks and Sam. You know, they've played a lot of minutes that, you know, now they're taking less, but they're still playing well. So our depth is real, Jones, and our depth is real. We can play 10 guys liberally.
Yeah, you have 10 guys who have played more than 200 minutes so far this season, which is pretty impressive.
A couple of them should be playing. You know, they have a legitimate argument that they should play more, and but I'm. And our staff is really appreciative of how professional they've been about that, and you know, kind of in the name of winning.
Yeah, and it's impressive. You know, your conference, especially at the top, you got UNC Wilmington. You know, is a very strong program. I mean, they've battled with them. You know, College of Charleston. You knew they were going to be competitive. You know, even though Coach Kelsey left, Coach Mack, which is funny. They kind of switched jobs, Louisville and College of Charleston, which we joked with Coach Mack about, and then William and Mary. Who doesn't get back to us when we had his brother, Coach Earl from Chattanooga. I mean, talk a little bit about the conference. I mean, I know you have 4 games, which is kind of interesting to me because it's like, it seems like a lot of teams have 6 and 7 games, but you guys play, you know, that weekend before. You're at Elon, at Campbell, who's really picked it up this year, William and Mary at home, and then Hampton. You know, talk a little bit about these next 4 games and also the conference overall.
Yeah, this is our first time playing all these teams. I mean, Elon's had a remarkable turnaround on the Billy Taylor. You know, it's the second tallest team in the country, believe it or not. So they're big. They play a lot of zone. I mean, you know, they won at Notre Dame. That's a heck of a win. They just had a great win at North Carolina, Wilmington, and it's not easy to do. I mean, kudos to K.O. Siddle. He's fastest coach in Wilmington history to get 100 wins. That's been a lot of elite coaches at that place. And then we got Campbell. I think Kevin McGann's, what a job they've done. He's got to be the coach of the year. We got the kid Colby Dugan, who's playing at an elite level, and they play differently. They run Princeton offense. They press you defensively.
Hey, coach, don't worry. He won't be back next year. Someone else will pick him up. I mean, isn't that the problem, though? Not sorry to cut you off, but it's because we talked to a couple coaches. It's like you want your kids to succeed, but you really don't want them to succeed because they might not be back next year.
Well, I don't want to speak for other guys. We've been able to retain some guys, and I believe we're on the right path with our administration to put ourselves in a position to continue to do that, and we need to, because that's, you got to have good players, right? If I ask you guys to go make a filet mignon, I can't give you ground chuck beef, right?
You'll be surprised, man.
I got to give you some ingredients, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of those guys is Dylan Williamson. You mentioned him earlier, sophomore guard from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. It seems like, last year he was part of the all-rookie team, but this year it just seems like he's just gone to a completely different level with his leadership on the court and just kind of what he represents to your program. Can you talk a little bit about his growth this season?
Yeah, really proud of him. One, he's talented, and he works his tail off. Comes from a great family. He lives for the moment. He's not afraid to take, and he specializes in making big shots. But especially proud he's taken a lot more pride and ownership of our team and scouting reports and defense. And he's a guy we redshirted his first year, and is really benefiting from that.
Yeah, and you can definitely see. And then even Tyler Tejada is just playing, all world.
Tyler's a hard matchup. He's a bucket getter. Has really improved defensively and his ability to read the game. Those two guys right now are, I give them a lot of credit. They're making shots because I've got a terrific staff, and they really, really spend a lot of time on their craft outside of practice. So I want them to trust their work and continue to be aggressive offensively.
Yeah. You can definitely say this. You know what I love about him, Sam, is I think he's the only coach that has a window in their office.
Well, that's because we put that in early when we were on a 6-game losing streak in case I wanted to jump out of it.
That's great. You mentioned some of the losing streaks, and, it hasn't always been, the national attention you're getting right now at the university. You took over the program in 2011. You guys had 15 straight losing seasons. You look at where the program has come, right? And you've had some really good teams along the way. Where do you think this team kind of ranks with your tenure at the program?
Yeah, look, we didn't start the way we wanted to, but we certainly can finish the way we hope to. It could be as good as we've had. We've been fortunate. 10 of the last 12 years, we've had 18 or more wins a season. So I think we've been consistent. The league is much better, so that our guys are smart enough to know that anyone can beat us. But like I said, we do have talent and successful game experience, and hopefully we could keep it going. The whole focus right now is on, hey, can we? We're in the mix for one more win, I think, or someone else loses, you get a double bye, and then you're in the mix for a conference title race. So the focus right now are on those things with, in a tough matchup Thursday night against Elon if the weather holds off. If it goes our way, we'll turn the page as we get ready for Washington, D.C. and go from there. And, but our guys, they read stuff. Everyone, reads stuff and all that. But they understand the pressure this time of year is on our ability to execute. That's the pressure. Everything else is just noise.
Yeah, that's the truth.
You're 10-1 at home, and you actually finished the regular season off with 2 home games. How is that? How's the fan base been reacting to the win streak and kind of where you guys are at right now?
Great question. It's the best it's ever been since I've been here. I really think our students have been great. We're expecting awesome crowds next week. That's a credit to my AD, Steve Iger brought in his staff, and our President Ginsburg is great. He's really injected a lot of energy into the student body. So if we can have that next week, and then maybe if Coach Earl at William Mary and Coach Thomas at Hampton, if they could get a couple of those guys to show up late for the game or hold them out, then it would really help us, and that would be good sporting behavior. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's since someone didn't get back to us their SID. I mean, I'm more than willing to help, Coach.
Yeah, if it's like wedding crashes, maybe at the Denny, you throw some of that Visine into the soup or the salad and see what happens, right? Don't do it to the coach, though. I mean, we need it for the players. It's the coaches. Yeah. Coaches don't score baskets. It's still a player's game.
I don't know about that. Go on social media more a little bit, Coach. As you know, it's always your fault. But I like to dwell on the past, as Sam's known me for a long time. I want to go back to your first season, 1-31, 1-17, and why I'm bringing this up is because I coached Sam his first year. We struggled, just kind of like you. We had a little bit more wins than you. When you
how could you not?
Well, I mean, at least you won one. I mean, Green Bay is kind of going where you're going right now. No offense to the Phoenix, but you look back then, was there ever a moment like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I here? Especially now, you look after you've been there for almost 14, I think this year, 14th season, 15th season. How kind of satisfying is it to look back and realize what you went through that first year and what you're going through now?
Yeah, I think I knew what I didn't know the first year. I just wanted a shot, and I just jumped in, and I'm pretty confident saying Doug Gottlieb's a lot more prepared than I am, and they'll be fine out there.
Had a good radio show at least.
Yeah. Well, he knows what he's doing. A good basketball family, and we just weren't. It was a wreck on and off the court. Don't forget, after we not only lost 31 games, we got hit with a postseason ban for APR going into year 2. If I had known that was going to happen, I don't think I would have ever taken the job. But that second year, the group, we just inducted that team into the Hall of Fame here in the fall, and that was pretty awesome. Just so many good players, good people, that helped us get this thing off the ground. So, yeah, I certainly take a lot of pride in that and appreciation, and I tell our guys all the time now, we've been in this position. I'm appreciative that they're making sure we're playing meaningful games this time of year, because when I think back to that first year, they weren't necessarily as meaningful.
Yeah. More painful, less meaningful, huh?
Somewhat.
So you mentioned how deep your roster is. I threw out that you didn't get 10 guys who have played over 200 minutes so far this season. One of them is not Ryan. I want to see what can you do to get Ryan out there a little bit more, and what does that kind of mean? I mean, was that always the plan to have him come play for you? And what is that?
It's been awesome having him. He's a great kid. He's a good big brother. We tried to get him to look at a lot of schools, and he grew up on this campus. And our youngest son is autistic, and I think he really wanted to be close to him. And so he came and he tore his shoulder last year. Actually, re-tore it at the end of the summer. He's fighting through it, which I appreciate him doing it. But getting to be around him every day has been great, because you do, as a coach, you do miss a lot of things. My wife Kristen really is the coach of our team at home. We got good kids, and that's because of her. So selfishly, me just getting to be around him every day has been something I don't take for granted. But I know he's enjoying being at Towson. I mean, if you guys ever get a chance, this university is really, the area has really exploded. So it's a pretty cool place to go to college.
Yeah. I already have 2 degrees. I'm not going for 3, Coach, and I don't think I have any eligibility.
You never saw Rodney Dangerfield back to school? It'd be great. It'd be great spin off.
Coach, you don't want to see me in a Speedo.
If you need a low post guy who can't jump more than 2 inches, call LT. He'll be there.
I still got good moves. You should ask my wife. I still got good moves in the post. How difficult is it, especially because your son's in year 2 now, correct? He's a sophomore. How difficult? Because we've had a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of kids that play for their dads. How difficult was it for you to adjust to being not just dad, but also the coach, and realizing there's 12, 13 other guys that are like your kids, but actually not your child?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't even think about it at practice. He's been jackhammered just as much as any other guy. Now, I will tell you, we get in the other day for a little bit, and as a dad, I guess you're a little bit more like, I just got to sit down here. Hopefully, you don't get hurt. And plays the right way. You know what I mean? So, he probably wants to get in the coach, and I'll try to talk him out of it. Try to have a normal existence. It's probably helped me because I'm, somewhat wired tightly. It's probably helped me with our players because he's a really good guy. And then he did told me, and then the talk had asked him back in the fall when he first, a summer, I guess, saying, hey, is he like that at home? And Brian's not nice, pretty low key and normal. And so some of that's probably helped me more than I realize.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. Now in 2023, you won the Skip Prosser Man of the Year award. And
that's because there's nothing even to really ask about that. Honestly, that's pretty sure of that.
Yeah.
They clearly either like 100 other guys turned it down that year, or they didn't spend much time putting a list. So the people that put that award together, College Insider, are awesome for college basketball. But the comparisons end there. Skip Prosser obviously is the best and best there was. So I'm very thankful for that. But
So I mean, but
I don't want to break my arm patting myself on the back.
No, because your arm can't get there. But but what's interesting is I was reading an article, just doing some research, and what the university means to you, and also the community and city for your family has been really remarkable.
Yeah, it's been like sometimes I had, as an assistant, I had 6 jobs in 13 years, and look, it was trying to climb the ladder, and a lot of that probably was somewhat, well, not a lot of it, most of it was selfish, right? But to be able to stay here and watch the area grow and the university grow, and then develop a program, and then we've got really good services in the Baltimore County area for autism. We've been lucky with that. I think the one thing I'll take whenever the time ends here at Towson is that I didn't have to move my my kids during some of the formative years. I'm probably be very appreciative of that.
Yeah.
When you look at kind of just the mid-major coaching lifestyle and how that's kind of changed throughout your career, and especially the last 2 or 3 years with the evolving NCAA landscape, are elite mid-major coaches, I mean, we're seeing a lot more stay put, right? Because the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I mean, are you hearing within kind of your circle of peers that it's they want to create more value in those mid-major communities and build programs longer?
I don't know. Certainly elite and Pat Skerry wouldn't be something in the same sentence you'd want to use.
Coach Spiker thinks so. Coach Spiker told us that.
There's a lot of people around the country who put Pat Skerry and elite in the same sentence. You'd be surprised.
Thank you. I think I think more. Quite honestly, came from Division III. I think there are. I know there are a lot of assistants and small college coaches that are a lot better coaches than me, and even and guys at the highest level. I also think there are elite coaches at the highest level in here. I think so much of this, it's a crazy way to live, but it's incredibly rewarding, and you're fortunate enough to get to do it. But I think so much it's an individual journey. It's luck, timing. Where do you aspire to be to? What level do you? I know a lot of guys that haven't got opportunities or didn't get the time they deserved at an opportunity. I think for me that I've tried to say that I'd like to have a good job. That means somewhere I can make a living, win, and hopefully not worry about getting fired. And that's Towson's been a great job because of that.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of, we've heard that from other people too, other coaches, your colleagues and stuff like that. I mean, we talked about Coach Senderhoff. He's been at Kent State forever. Tremendous coach. He's obviously ingrained in the community, just like yourselves, probably had other opportunities. And I think there's more, especially with how college sports has gone with it's pay to play, not NIL, and the transfer portal. I think people are realizing, like, you talked very glowingly about your wife and your family and stuff like that. Do we want to take that next step and potentially be fired in a year or two? Because, Sam's in a little online war with a DePaul fan, as both DePaul graduates, like trying to get him to understand, like, you've got to have realistic expectations. Just because
you do. Use DePaul. DePaul hired an outstanding coach and he put together an unbelievable staff, and but they're also fighting some superpowers in that conference, and it's going to take, unfortunately, it's going to take a little time, and it's going to take a little good health and good fortune too. Like I say all the time, the two things that helped us get out of the abyss here at Towson were, one, the AD that hired me, Mike Waddell, was incredibly passionate and sunk some resources into the program that none of the prior coaches ever had access to. Okay, so it wasn't the prior coaches; it was the resources. Mm-hmm. And then the second reason, even bigger than Mike Waddell, was we were fortunate to get a guy by the name of Jarrell Benjamin, who's the most impactful player in school history. We go from winning one game to he gets eligible for Georgetown. He's back-to-back unanimous player of the year in our league. So without him, I'm certainly not. I'm not sitting here right now. I'm selling Hoover vacuums, probably.
You could be good at that.
I could be.
Maybe
less
stressful.
But I mean, you gotta have some good players, and we've had a lot of good players since COVID. We've got really good young players now. We think the best class coming in that we've ever gotten. So you got to have some good players.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, Sam. We're going to kind of fire off what we call the shot clock. LT is going to.
He's been on it before.
I know. Well, we're just going to remind him. LT is going to fire off about 5 or 6 questions, quick little one hitters, maybe one word, could be a sentence, could lead to a short story. Whatever it is, the platform's going to be yours to how you want to respond to them. Okay. LT, let's do it.
All right. One word to describe Towson.
On the rise. It's 3, but it's close enough.
Yeah, I like it.
And you went
surging.
Surging. There you go.
And you graduated from Tufts? Come on, man.
Wasn't accredited back then.
So wait, your all-time career assists in single season, it wasn't official or accredited either?
No, that one.
Yeah, I feel you. One word to describe the CAA.
Balanced.
Okay. Which coach in the CAA would you say in college had the highest GPA?
Billy Cohn.
Really? Okay. Because
Hamilton guy,
Okay. Hamilton College. Okay. Who would you say fouls the most on your team? In game, not in practice. In game.
Hold on. Gets called for the most fouls or called for the most fouls? Okay.
If you ask them, none of them. I'm going to say right now, it's our talented freshman Caleb Mbaya.
3.2 personal fouls per game.
It's aggressive.
That's funny. Most memorable game and the one game that haunts you or you'd like to change?
Wow. Most memorable would be we won our first conference championship game here against Delaware. It was a restart game where like 19 minutes left in the game. We had to play the second half because of slippery floor conditions. And to win the league, we needed to win the game. We were down 8. And we were up at the first media timeout. So it went about as well as it could have.
Nice.
And then honestly, there's a lot of losses that haunt me. Anytime you lose in the conference tournament, you just you feel for your players and the staff, wishing you did a better job. And we've had some tough ones of those, but looking forward to redeeming the opportunity to redeem those.
Yeah, because you like to dance. I know you like to dance. So give me your funniest recruiting story, one that kind of pops off the top of your head.
Man, there's been a lot of recruiting stories. I'm gonna leave a name out, but when I was back in the Big East, I'm not gonna say what school, recruiting
Providence.
A kid out of New York. I'm not gonna confirm nor deny. Recruiting a kid out of New York,
Big East.
and I had my head coach was like giving the pitch, and I was sitting on a chair opposite the couch of the prospect and his mom and his dad, and I heard this rumbling in these like boxes behind me, and you don't bring much attention to it for a little bit, and kind of looking over the shoulder, and I finally they said, "Don't worry about that's where we keep our lizards and our snakes." And I remember thinking, "Oh man, like if this box I'm not a big reptile guy, you know." It was uncomfortable, if that makes sense. It was very uncomfortable during that home visit.
Did you get the player?
No. No.
Makes it harder to look up.
Maybe it was because of my disdain for reptiles. I never really dug into why.
Oh, that's funny. What would be your spirit animal? If you're an animal, what animal would you be?
There's only one animal. I mean, it's better to live one day as a tiger than 1,000 days as a sheep.
There you go. Is that written in the locker room?
No.
Should be.
Love it.
Should be. That's funny. It's funny. You should use that when you play the Campbell Camels.
Maybe we will.
Camels in instead of sheep.
Maybe we would. Right.
Okay.
Tiger. We try to eat the camel. Yeah, sure. I get it.
Okay. I like it. Two more quick questions. Song that best describes you.
Wow. Song that best describes me. I never really thought about that.
Most people don't.
I tell you what I like to listen for the game. I like listening to "Lose Yourself" by Eminem on my little iPad. All right.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Right.
That's a good song. That's a great song, actually. So they're making a Hollywood movie about you and your life. Who would play you, and what would the title be?
It's going to get a bad rating on Rotten Tomato for one, I'm sure. Who would play me? Back in college, I thought a couple of ladies thought I looked like Tom Cruise. My wife would probably vomit hearing that. But I think hopefully the title would be it's not the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog. How's that?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's a long title, but I really do love that. Coach, you won nothing, you got nothing, and actually, if Coach Spiker was in that movie with you, who would play him?
Who would play Spiker? It'd be like Step Brothers, maybe. Like we'd have like Will Ferrell and one of that other guy in there.
I love it.
And the rating wouldn't be any better on Rotten Tomatoes either.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on the Full Court Press College Basketball Coaches Show. I'm going to turn it over to you for the last minute of this episode. If there's anything you want to share to the Tiger Faithful, Boosters, Alumni, Student Section, Towson community, Baltimore community, anything they should be looking forward to these last 4 games of the regular season and going into conference play.
Yeah, make sure they get out to see our guys. They are really the right type of representatives for this great institution, and you get around them and support them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was short and sweet, Coach. Usually people talk for like a minute or so, but Coach, we really appreciate you just getting to the point.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, but don't forget, you're just going to stick on one more second. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Another great episode. Check out the Towson Tigers. I mean, they're on fire. 4 more games. Then they play in that DC at the CAA conference tournament. And I'm really hoping Coach Skerry goes dancing. And I really hope you get placed in Cleveland, because I am going to cheer like more than your family will. I'm going to be out there.
Let me tell you something. If we're fortunate enough to have that happen, I want you to come down to the locker room beforehand, all right?
Oh, God.
Let's make it happen.
Be careful. I might never leave, Coach. I might never leave. I won't take anything.
We're not going to leave either once we're there. So let's.
I know, I love it. I love it. So follow Coach Skerry, one of the best, most comical coaches too, but one of the best. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We'll be back next week on the Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show.